Boys, we're back. It is the 4th year anniversary of Warzone. We're talking about a lot of our favorite memories from back in the day. And we're talking about maybe what we'd like to see from the future in the future iterations of Warzone. So if you like the video, don't forget to like the video. And I'll see you next time.
Hold on. Product placement.
Oh, yeah. This is a hashtag, not an ad. hashtag no ad.
Remember when you asked me last week? It's like, oh, what headphones you got there? That might be a fun thing. It's like, what does Ethan have in his room right now? I'd be like, oh,
You got
a
a
hobby?
piece of art in the background?
Yeah, it's I had a good friend draw that.
Oh, I was talking about the drawing on the.
Oh,
Is
that
that
one?
yeah.
Yeah.
just yeah. Anyway, I mean, so we're talking about Warzone again, eh?
Yeah, 4-year
4-year memories or
4-year anniversary happened
anniversary.
on March 10th,
Was it
2020.
just crazy that the game it's crazy, but it's not crazy because the game doesn't feel that old. Like I think I texted you this. Like it doesn't feel that old, but it also feels like it was an eternity because of COVID.
I think everything is like nothing ever feels old, like ever. You know?
Yeah, I
Like
guess.
I don't know if there's anything I'm like, oh yeah, that kind of feels like outside of like so like for example, like you watch Star Wars and you're
Hmm.
like, oh man, that's kind of old. If I watch Lord of the Rings, I'm like, that's only like 20 years old. And one Star Wars happened before I was born, Lord of the Rings happened when I was alive, so there's
That's
memories
true.
attached to it. And so you have a so like even like Call of Duty 4, it's 17 years this year.
Yeah.
Which is insane to me. Like what also terrifying to me cuz like I was 17 when it came out. And so the idea of it being 17 years old is
Yeah.
not good for my cholesterol. Um, and so, but like, yeah, like I just think it's crazy on um, how insane it's been 4 years. But yet,
Yeah.
in some ways, it does kind of feel like it's been a while because there's been so many like radical changes where it doesn't feel like the product that it was.
Exactly.
And so,
Which brings us to what we really I think want to talk about, right? Like the
our
things that we remember.
what was some? It's a funeral.
But so, and we'll probably talk about this all throughout this like whole conversation. But like, there was so many things that like we look back or we like look back at now. We're like, man, why couldn't they've just like left it alone? But at the time, we were like, man, we really want to change. Like, as gamers, we're stupid. Like, we don't realize that we don't really want what we think we want, which bad opinions. Anyway.
Welcome. I have a word for it now. It's called Bad Take Station. Welcome to Bad Take Station. Choo choo. Train is leaving.
Choo
Get on
choo.
board. We're all even your favorite streamer who has 20 billion views and is 6'8" and chiseled.
Who are we
He has
talking about?
he has bad takes as well. We all do. Or the one that's balder than me and similar shape to me, also
He's also kind of tall, though, right?
yeah, unfortunately.
He has the
I
weight
don't
to disperse a little bit.
Yeah, I just kind of come in like a bowling ball.
Like a
But no,
wrecking ball.
yeah, like a wrecking ball, like that Miley this Miley Cyrus song.
Yeah, you can't say your name.
Yeah, canceled.
Copyright.
Copyright infringement. Yeah, so I was thinking like I remember because I was very much into like the Twitter tracking everything that was happening at that time, and like all the build up towards like there's going to be a battle royale, but when's it coming? And there's just a lot of mystery. And I was once again bad take station. Um, I was one of the few people at the time that genuinely enjoyed Modern Warfare 19 multiplayer.
Bad take station.
Yeah, choo. All right, and I'll still go back and play. I'm like, it was just I think it just reminded me of the classic CODs a little bit more, and so that's why I enjoyed it a little bit more. It wasn't perfect, but I thought it was significantly better than Black Ops 4, but I also stopped playing COD for like 7 years because I thought the games just kind of became
We kind of
way
came
too
back. We came back
way
into
too
it
arcadey.
together, though. Like
W-
during what was it? The World War II one? I
Yeah, so we
mean,
came
how
after
many World
World
War
War.
II ones? But
No, it was called World War II.
was
That's
that
what it was.
actually? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Call of Duty World War II. And we had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah, that one's
But
actually pretty fun.
we didn't play like we weren't like addicted.
Nah. It had
I
it definitely has its flaws, but it was enjoyable kind of coming
Yeah,
back to it.
I say Blackout we probably enjoyed more,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
but we once again it never had that feeling of just like addiction, and part of
Yeah.
that's like crossplay and everything else.
That and like just how the game paced itself.
Yeah,
It didn't quite have that pack that punch.
yeah, but at the time, um, like we just thought it was we thought it was awesome, and I think it still is awesome. I like my bad take station. All right, um, I think I think this year is Treyarch's turn. I don't care about them implementing their guns into Warzone 3 to screw it all up for the 17th time. I would love them just to be like, hey, there's a battle royale inside our game.
That'd be
It's
interesting.
cross-platform and it's Blackout 2.
Hmm.
And you know, Activision will allow it. I don't know. They're under Microsoft's thumb, so I'm not optimistic. But I would prefer that over them breaking the game because they're trying to implement like, completely different styles of like games and everything else.
Uh,
But back to what we're saying
hmm.
is I was very much into the when is this next battle royale going to come out? And I remember I was because it happened over spring break, and we were still adults at that time. I was pushing
Kind of.
30. Um, I was almost in my 30s, so I was definitely an adult.
Were
I
you
just got
really?
yeah, I was 29. Um, and so I got married, 3 months before that,
I was
and we were
27.
we because we got married over Christmas break. Um, we didn't get to spend time with my family who lives out in Nevada as much as we wanted to. And so during spring break, we were like, hey, let's go to Nevada. Mind you, this is March 2020. Um, and everyone should remember what was like things were happening,
COVID.
but as we were there, like it went crazy. Actually, I was really sick on that trip. And I was like convinced for a second there because I remember like I was just like, I'm not gonna go through my symptoms, but it wasn't like flu-like, but it was just not a good experience. Um, and I remember being like, "Do I have this COVID thing that everyone's talking about?" And as I'm laying in bed, just sick to my stomach, it was March 9th, and everyone Warzone officially like dropped their trailer. They lifted up their embargo on all the content creators who came out and played it and stuff and gave their opinions and stuff. And I sat there probably for 4 hours listening to all the big content guys at the time who were invited. Um, and I just listened to talk about this battle royale. And the one thing I remember thinking was like, this sounds really, really good. This sounds really, really fun. But I didn't have my gaming system. My brother had like an Xbox One at his house at the time. And so when it dropped on March 10th, I got a few texts from my buddies because we were Pacific time because of Nevada. So I was 2 hours behind everyone else. You and some of my buddies went to
Yeah.
college. Brendan, shout out. And
Brennan.
they're all texting me that they're like, this Warzone game is awesome. This is so much fun. And I was like, all right. So I told my brother download it. 17 hours later, after 475 gigabit download.
It was such a big game.
I
Shoot.
dropped in, and I had already made the transition in my life from console to PC. And so going back to console on my brother's huge TV, where our internet wasn't that great for whatever reason.
X-Bone.
But I pop in and we drop in. So my first drop ever was construction.
Oh, shout out.
Over there by Promenade, and I remember thinking like, oh, this is pretty good. It's a little safe. But I dropped in as a solo trio because I was like, I don't want to play with people I don't know. And if something happens, I don't want to like them to judge me. And I was like, I'm pretty decent at COD. Like, I can kill 3 guys on my own. Um, and so just started playing, and the internet was crappy. It was so choppy. It was on 60 FPS, 80 FOV. Um, First game got like 5 or 6 kills, and for context, I know like some of you sweatlords out there judge us for this, but no one was slide canceling, no one was tax spreading. In Fortnite, a 5 to 6 kill game was a pretty solid game, and for like average people.
Yeah.
For Blackout, 5 to 6 was a pretty solid game. So I'm thinking, and I died with like 80 people in the map still. And I remember thinking this game is interesting, but it sucks playing alone.
Yeah.
And so we came back a few days later, back to Houston.
Oh, can't be. Oh, we don't live in Houston. What?
Well, I mean, I flew into Houston because well, we don't live in Houston. That's actually completely factual. We do not live in Houston.
That's fair.
I mean, it's not like you can research what's on my shirt right now.
That's actually really funny.
But we come back in. I think one of my first drop-ins was with like you and Daniel.
DK, shout out.
DK Metcalf.
DK.
And there are games that you play that the first time you play it, there is a feeling of addiction that you get, and you're playing something special.
Yeah.
And playing it with y'all for that first like day, like it took me maybe 1 or 2 games to become completely addicted to the game.
For the next 9 months.
Oh, it was bad. Well, remember from April, or from March to June.
Oh, we didn't do anything else. Well, we did, but like,
yeah,
we didn't.
My wife was completely right. We had to have conversations about like my time management, because remember, this is also in the midst of COVID. You weren't really going anywhere, so you're stuck in the same place all the time. And there was, I would say, probably 5 to 6 days a week for the first month or so. It felt like, even though we're supposed to be working at that time, we were playing 9 to 12 hours.
It was bad.
It was bad. So, but here's, and I'll kind of let you go next. But the one thing I remember is I remember thinking that, because I watched those guys' preview videos, and they talked about, and I was researching before this, and I can't find the video. I can't remember who said it, but they asked them about like, will skill-based matchmaking be in Warzone? And they were like, no, there's no.
Oh, I remember you talking about that
whatsoever. And so we all thought there is no skill-based matching whatsoever. And so when we're playing, we were playing with a few different people at that time. But I think one of the days I wasn't there, you played and you got your first win. It pissed me off because I didn't get to play with y'all for your first win. But it took me something like 100 games, and I was averaging like 7, 8, 9, 10 kills when I, outside of like the early, when you lose immediately in a gunfight.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was playing pretty well, and I'm hearing all these other friends who are not good at the game talking about how they have 1, 2, 3 wins, and I'm like, how am I better than them? And I'm not experiencing any wins. And I remember bringing up like, I think there's some form of skill-based matchmaking, because it's not that our lobbies are hard, like per se. Because remember, at this time, no one was YYing, no one was slide canceling, but it wasn't like people like gunfights were actually kind of complicated because you're moving at the same pace as everyone else.
Yeah.
And so like you can tell when someone's actually good at the game because they can hit their shots. And so we were losing consistently like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place. And I was by I think it's your turn to do the bad take station choo choo.
Choo choo.
I remember you being like, y'all, because I remember saying like, I think there's skill-based matchmaking. Like, no, I played a game with skill-based matchmaking. This doesn't have it. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it does. And then Exclusive Ace, like a week later, comes out and it's like, yeah, there's definitely skill-based matchmaking in this. And I was like, vindicated.
Thank you. I told everybody.
But yeah, so, but I mean, that first time you dropped in, Halo, The Witcher 3, Call of Duty 4, the old PS2 NCAA games, the Madden games, those were the only games that gave me that feeling of when I started it, I'm like, I'm already addicted. And I haven't even really played it yet.
Yeah.
Warzone to me was the first time I felt addicted to a multiplayer game since Battlefield 3.
So, I mean, playing a little bit off what you said, like we have very similar talking points, but the I kind of I remember I don't remember seeing a whole lot. I don't actually. It's hard for me to remember what happened like a month ago, unless it's like really significant. But like I just remember it like dropping, and I got on, and I think I played some games alone, and this and I again same thing as you felt, right? It was like magical, in like how it was, and I was playing. I think I played my first several games with like Bryce and this guy named Payne. Um, Shout out to Payne. I don't know if he's ever gonna watch this, but he was a friend of Bryce's. um, but anyway, we were played a lot together, and I think that's why I ended up playing with them at some point while you weren't playing, and we that's
You hoard yourself up for a win.
we got a win. And we got a couple wins. Kind of not necessarily back to back, but pretty close, and um, it was a lot of fun. Like that's whenever that in like Fortnite have very similar like, and this is why I like Big Map so much, but I don't want to get too much on a tangent. But like,
Big Map was last week.
what do you mean?
We talked about Big Maps last
Yeah,
week.
that's true. That's true.
So you can't say the word.
Okay, that's right. But like, whenever you get a win in Warzone, whenever I got a win in Fortnite, whenever I got a win in like PUBG, whenever I got a win in like the H1 Battle Royale, like it brought me back to that, and like that's why for me, like the Battle Royale style, apart from Resurgence, is so rewarding to get that win because it's actually high stakes. And so like I was hooked the same way. There's other games that kind of like you said, for me, those games that kind of got me hooked were like when I knew that I was going to get hooked was like, oh gosh, shout out to like Doom, Doom 2 specifically. I played like Doom 3D Arena. I played StarCraft 2, Warcraft 2 and 3.
Nerd alert.
The biggest one being like Diablo, but also more importantly, World of Warcraft. I played World of Warcraft for a long time. Like those types of games that give me those feelings of like, oh, I'm gonna be in this for a minute. And I haven't been as addicted to it as I once was because I kind of had to pull myself out, having a baby and all that. But
Still plays like 12 hours a day.
yeah, he also makes millions of dollars doing so. So if I made millions of dollars, I'd be like Kim. If I made millions of dollars a day, not day, but like a year doing nothing but playing Warzone and other stupid games on the internet, I would also be doing the same thing. So, and I think Kim would be okay with it. But yeah,
millions of dollars.
but yeah, first time playing, super magical. It was crazy. Getting that first win was awesome. Again, it was a little bit of a struggle. It took me like, I feel like it was like a couple weeks to really get that first win. And kind of similar to what you said, like I also didn't think that skill-based matchmaking was a thing in it. And I felt like skill-based matchmaking was more soft at the beginning.
Well, definitely compared to now.
No, definitely 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the thing that I really, 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 really enjoyed about it, like it was like the multiplayer experience, but like bigger and more high stakes. And it's what I used to like about Call of Duty, but like better because you couldn't respawn and you had to play more strategic, so it slowed the game down a little bit, but you could still play fast paced if you really wanted to. It's not really how it is now. Everyone plays now like there's a freaking stick of cocaine in your butt and it's going straight to your bloodstream. But
part of the reason is because of map design. And if you want to learn more about map design, watch your video from last
Oh yeah, watch the last video because that'll tell you why we think that this new COD sucks.
I think that's 90% of the issue is just map design.
Yeah, just horrible map design. Anyway, we digress. Do we want to talk about all our memories or kind of go back and forth a little bit?
Let's just go back and forth.
All right, so I'll hand it back to you.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to add on that you got the Call of Duty multiplayer gameplay with the Fortnite, H1Z1 game mode.
Yeah.
And definitely I think one of the reasons why it was so addicting is you could come back, you could get you could redeploy back into the map, and so suddenly you went from games where you could be playing for blackout for 3 hours, but you're actually only getting 20 to 30 minutes of actual gameplay in, because if you die at a certain point and if your teammates are decent, they're carrying you along,
Yeah, it's true.
and you get these wins. And now you're always having like you're watching because you want your buddy to get that at that time. What was it, $6,000 for a revive, whatever it was,
Yeah.
to go to the buy station. You go to the you die, you go to the gulag, you get a chance to go get another kill. Um, but yeah, and so like I think like I wish this biggest. I always in the moment you just wish you didn't make so many stupid decisions in your life. Um, I wish I would have recorded gameplay a lot more and just held on to it. Um,
Same. I wish I held on to a lot of my early stuff, but I didn't have any
yeah,
room on my hard drive. I didn't have an
just because I'm
external.
I'm trying, like, I remember like individual moments, but not enough to like construct a story out of it.
Yeah.
But I think one of my favorite moments was to me this was the first battle royale I played that not only had vehicles, but vehicles were an extremely viable option to gameplay. It was a preferred option, and they were lethal.
Oh yeah.
And so,
But like
with
balanced in a way.
yeah, well, not at first.
Not
When I
yeah, I
made
mean, but people didn't know how to play against it. That's the problem.
yeah, and so that's true. And so I remember like one of my favorite kind of early Warzone moments. It was we were in the G, not the G, right? Whatever, the four wheeler, the big one, the
They're like the big sedan thing.
yeah, but not the Jeep, but like the one that had like no windows.
Oh yeah, the Jeep. That's the Jeep.
Well, the other one's an actual Jeep.
Well, there's a Jeep and then there's an uncovered Jeep, right? Are you talking about the like there's like the sedan looking car and then there's the Jeep with the no
Yeah,
windows and then there's the four-wheeler and the motorcycle,
it was the
right?
one with no windows. It was the one that was more agile
Or was
and
there a
faster.
there wasn't a motorcycle. Motorcycle was
No, no,
1984.
yeah, which no one used because
No one cares about it.
um,
Yeah.
but it felt like it was almost like Grand Theft Auto driving mechanics, and that's what was kind of crazy.
It was
Is like
fluid,
because
like super fluid.
PUBG was kind of like clunky to drive,
Yeah.
and probably like realistically, it's probably more realistic the way it
Yeah, but
drove.
boo,
Where
boo.
yeah, I know. Oh, it's arcade. Stop saying it.
Yes, it's an arcade game. It's not
It's an
realism.
arcade shooter.
This
Which
is it, Battlefield.
I'm old enough to remember actually going to like CC's Pizza where there was arcades.
Ah, shout out.
Those arcade shooters were very different than Call of Duty. But no, and so you played in this like we were driving around and we were in between that space between stadium
Neighborhood.
and no, it was on the other side of the little ravine. It was like
Stadium.
stadium and farmland. It was like the northernmost part of farmland.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
and so that little the little like kind of concreted ravine that was there, and we had a couple games where just like, hey, you can only get kills in cars, like
Yeah.
that's the only way we're playing.
It
And
was
so we're
fun.
driving, and this guy is like right here. I hit him, kill him, and then as I'm turning, his buddy's like right down here, hit him, and I turn, and they just all like kind of lined up in this weird way where I just went boop, 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 and got a complete squad wipe
It was so
on this
satisfying.
car. And I was just like, that was awesome. That was so much fun. And like, it's like I can understand like, and I think there's a conversation to have like competitive versus fun, and how do you mark that
Boo.
balance. And getting killed by a vehicle was singularly the most infuriating way to die at that time, I felt like.
No,
Because
absolutely. You would just scream, be like, "Why is this so nerfed?"
Yeah.
Like we would just get so upset for no
Yeah.
reason.
that's
But
why when I thought the vehicles got nerfed in Warzone 2, hold on.
choo choo.
I thought
Bad
that was great.
ideas.
I think I'm back on this. It's like, man, make vehicles overpowered
Again.
Make them great again.
Make them great again. There we go. There's the punchline.
Where's my red hat? And so no, that was definitely one of those moments where it's like, oh, that's what type of game this is.
Mhm.
And then you had those moments where like you frisbee a C4 off a
Oh,
bridge.
dude.
and
Oh,
the car
no.
goes by.
No. The when you could shot put the whole the C4 like halfway across the map,
Yeah,
and then they nerfed it, and then I'm like, oh, like
it, for good reason. I think that was
whenever
C4
I
was too
could throw,
good.
it was too good. Whenever I could throw the C4 from the ground on top of the
Fire.
building, it was
Like,
it was
remember,
ridiculous.
its blast radius was also massive.
Oh, it was mad. It
So
was
they'd
huge.
be like, you know, 20 feet away
Half a
from the
football field away.
like, and be like 20 feet away from the explosion, and then it blows up the car and you get a squad wipe.
Yeah.
Here we go. Ready? All right, let's go again.
Choo choo.
RPGs and C4s should one-shot vehicles.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Bring that back.
You shouldn't just break them or like, you
Make
know what I mean?
make vehicles awesome again. But the counter
Yeah.
is you can kill pretty easily. I'm indifferent about trophy systems, but I think for this style you probably want some version of that. So, but yeah. So,
Yeah. Oh,
what you got?
for anyone watching though, for actual just sidebar, I do increase your volume because you were like, I remember you being really quiet in my last video, and so hopefully that kind of fixes it. So anyway,
Put
what are we talking about? Bad? Are we talking about bad takes or just like the next
just
memories?
your memories. I
So
kind of
RPG meta. Oh man, that just kind of like segue from yours. RPG meta, loved it. Thought it was great. Because you would have like an M4 and RPG or like just an AR RPG, SMG RPG. You ran an RPG because it was like it was the way, I don't know, it was just fun. It was just how the game was like everyone was everyone was doing it. You go into stairwells, RPG. Like so much fun. Piss you off, but it would be fun when you would be the one doing it. Also, my daughter's like screaming it. Yeah, she's not very happy. Anyway. She's not like pod goes on. But RPG meta because like RPG was countering vehicles.
Campers.
Counting vehicles, campers, people like trying to like sit on top of rooftops or like just randomly. I don't know. Just it was a lot of fun. I think you could pair RPG meta and like C4 time like together for me.
Yeah. Well, RPG meta was super early on.
Oh yeah, it was early on. RPG, and then like C4 meta was kind of like further down the line, a little bit. But like then vehicles came out, and then the way to counter vehicles was C4 RPG, and like some of the best moments was like whenever you RPG a truck, and you immediately get a squad wipe. Like oh, it was so fun. Or like whenever you would C4 and like, you have the half a football field away, like in terms of distance, but you still get a squad wipe because like it would immediately blow up the truck and you like, boom, okay, got a squad wipe. And then the trophy system, people figured out how to use the trophy system. So you could kind of play, then you could be the people in the vehicle going around and kind of like, that was just your way of getting around. You didn't necessarily run people over as much anymore. It was just your method of going from bounty to bounty, and you're picking up you're getting in engagements from you're crossing those dead zones of like, oh, I'm gonna die if I cross this, because of trophies, and you weren't just like immediately blown up by a RPG or something like that. I think the thing that I really liked, and you kind of said this, it was like a double-edged sword, but like the fun movement. Slide canceling was good. I think it was probably better for the game. The thing I thought was really game breaking was bunny hopping. I still did it because it was one of those things where you either join them or you get clapped. So it's like
I chose getting clapped.
The fun but toxic movement. Like those are like good memories. I think it's on like the downward trend when it kind of gets into when you start talking about the things we hate about the game. But I think the movement from Modern Warfare 1 or whatever 2019 was good, and I think that translated well to Warzone. But then kind of leading into those Frozone tournaments that we did. That was like for a while there. That was like why I wanted to play.
You're just you're taking all the time now, Kyle. I still got some points.
I figured you would go back to it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I did.
I'll let you. I'll let you.
No. You do your Frozone because you get the tournaments, and then I'll talk about our happy memories. But
exactly.
The
Frozone tournaments were so funny, or they were fun. They're fun. Like we placed third in one of the brackets. Like it was that point was like That was just really fun. Like just being able to have that memory. We placed
And
third that once.
we made.
Um,
I thought we placed second.
was the second or third?
I think it was second because we made some decent money.
Yeah, we barely missed first place.
Yeah.
Like barely. If we won one of the games that we placed like second in, we would have won. Which is like makes me wish that we did a little bit better. But that was like peak Warzone time for me. And like the metas are annoying, and like gun of the day, gun of the week, or whatever is frustrating to me because everyone just doesn't know how to use variety. But and then like the personal tournaments that we threw over quarantine.
Oh, let's not get into my territory now.
But
Okay?
yeah.
You did
Anyway,
Frozone,
I'll
I
let
did.
you take that. But those were
Alright.
fun because I got to live stream like all the rules and stuff, and then we would do it because then everybody had to stream, right? We had like then you had to have one person on your team that would stream
For Frozone. I don't know if we did
for
that.
hours.
I don't think we made people stream, did we?
Okay, I thought we did that.
I think because not everyone, most kids didn't have a PC.
That's true, but you can still stream on console. But anyway, those were a lot of fun. I'll let you take it.
Yeah, so go back is I think slide canceling is a double-edged sword.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We loved it at first because we were we were completely addicted. And
yeah, we were on the movement.
We were both in the education field. So after like 2 or 3 weeks, a lot of people started returning to like remote work and people's jobs. And so a lot of our friends kind of had to stop playing during the day because they had to go back to working. But there wasn't a lot for us to do at the time. Obviously, we didn't have classrooms to teach. Turns out when you're a teacher, and there's not kids in front of you in the classroom, it's harder to actually like fill out your space. And so we played Warzone during the workday.
Yeah, it would be like 1:00, 1:30, and we'd
previous employer.
If you want, we'd be playing at like 1:00.
Yeah, no, like we'd be playing like at 11.
Well,
sometimes.
Most of the time, I tried to work until noon.
Yeah, I remember that. There was moments that we play in the morning.
Yeah.
Especially the first couple weeks, we were definitely like 8:00 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Get your breakfast Oreos out. Let's go. But saying that we were so addicted that we were watching like every little tip and tidbit, and I think you were the one who ended up teaching me how to slide cancel.
Yeah.
Because you were still controller in the beginning.
I was.
And then you cowered it out.
Well, then I just wanted to. I don't remember what I was playing. I was playing other games that were like I was playing mouse and keyboard again because I kind of like I was like it was weird. It was when I got out of
Apex,
Fortnite. No, whenever I got out of Fortnite, like towards the end of me playing Fortnite, like really, 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 really heavily, like I had started to transition to PC, and so then as soon as I did that, like I started to kind of use my keyboard and mouse more for other games, and so then I was like, all right, I'm going to try and just learn to play keyboard and mouse on like everything. So that's when then I just forgot how to use a controller. Now a controller's broken and Amos's sucks because it's broken.
No, Amos's is awesome.
It's so busted, and I hate it. And I refuse to play.
I know that's as long as if you want to get your 2 kills and live with that.
I refuse to play on an input that like it's like the only way to do it because it's unfair. I just wish they need to fix it. Anyway, I don't want to take your time. Take it. Take it back.
You already did. That's
no. Take it back.
And so we were early adopters of the slide cancel movement.
True.
And I remember once I learned how to slide cancel, my KD was like at 1.4 for the first like couple hundred games or whatever it was, the first few month or two. And then once slide canceling became a more common tactic, and that's what all the streamers were doing, and we were watching Nick, Tim, and Doc while we were playing.
Mm-hmm.
And one time we truly accidentally got in their lobby.
And that was hilarious.
And
we just didn't expect it.
Well, we didn't. I wasn't watching it at the time.
It was one of our.
Sebastian was like, he recognized the name. He's like, yeah. Is that person? And so we get on, and we're like, oh, there's like two streamer squads in there, I believe.
Something like that. Because then we ran it,
and I think it was in Caldera. Was it Tifu? It was one of them. They were actually our bounty.
Yeah,
And I remember being like, "Is that the real Tfue?" And he ended up getting poached by someone else. I went back to his gameplay, and sure enough, it was us chasing him on a bounty, and we actually ended up winning that game, having a pretty good game.
that's pretty funny.
But he was also like solo
We
quadding, so
also
like,
had another side note. We had that game where we ran into Nick, Tim, and Doc, and then we had another game. And it was Cloak, I think, and then we had another game
oh yeah,
where we were getting hunted by whose squad was that?
Shamu,
Well,
Shamu, Biffle,
no, it wasn't them. It was oh yeah,
Biffle.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was the Nuke
It
Squad,
was.
wasn't it?
No, no, no. Okay, we did play different people at certain times, so I don't know. So in Verdansk '84, we were playing against Shamu and Biffle and them,
Okay.
and I'm telling you, like, I've never been that violated in my life before. Um,
No, it
and it
was
was
God,
like,
what's
but
his name?
our buddy, sorry, bad Tyler, if you're listening to this, but good Tyler, he killed Shamu, like he killed a couple of them a couple of times. Mainly because he was actually being smart and being like, maybe I shouldn't rush in
Yeah.
and get SMG fights with guys who are going to absolutely crap on me. I, however, did not exercise that intelligence, and was brutally. I'm pretty sure what happened to me was a war crime.
Or hold on, can
Um,
gosh, I need to go to use the bathroom so bad. I'll be right
I'll just
back.
keep on talking.
No, no,
I
no,
don't
no. Hold
need
on,
you.
hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Okay, I guess you can cut this out. Won't you have a Pepsi?
All right. My bad, my bad. I had to pee. I had to pee for like almost 30 minutes.
So back to being criminally assaulted.
Yeah, being
Um,
molested. Or you
Yeah.
can't say that,
No,
right?
it was much worse than that. Yeah, no, but that was. But the point is when you were an early adopter, like I remember my KD going from like a 1.4 to right on the edge of 1.9. And I know some of y'all gods out there, if you're watching this pod, more than likely, if you're watching this pod, you did not have higher than 2.0 KD. And so I feel pretty good right now.
You're an elite. All
Um,
right.
well, I was the highest KD on my outside of one person who we played with him like twice.
Who?
I don't remember his name, but he had like a 2.3, 2.4 KD.
That's pretty
And
high.
yeah, well, yeah. And when we played with him, I was like, "Oh, you're like way better than I am."
Yeah, I think
But
I had
yeah,
like a 1.6,
I want to say
1.6 and a
I want
half.
to. I think you were 1.4, 1.5.
At the
Because I remember,
highest though, I hit like,
yeah, you might have been at a 1.6 at the highest,
and
maybe
then
1.7.
but yeah, that was about the
Mouse and
highest.
keyboard.
I peaked. Yeah,
Um,
mouse and keyboard I peaked.
and no, 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 and then you went to mouse and keyboard. It fell
No,
apart.
no, 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 no,
Um,
no, 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 no.
but because I remember there was like one day we played, like, it was like a full 10-hour day, and I had something like 10 consecutive double-digit kill games, and I was
Yeah,
like, I'm in a zone that I can't stop. But I was always curious about like how good am I actually? Like,
yeah,
I'm an old school Call of Duty guy, and so the marker for a a decent player was you had to have a 2.0 KD. That was just the
yeah.
bare
I
minimum
remember
to be
that.
considered. Like, if you had a 2.0, you weren't a bot. You were above average. And so I was like, I don't have a 2.0, but we went to like the Warzone stat tracker stuff.
Yeah,
My 1.81 or 85 or whatever it was like top 5%, top 7%, something like that.
yeah.
And I was like, am I better than 90% of the player base? I'm like, I don't know about that. And so we did these custom tourneys, and we played with the first ones were with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I played FIFA with, and they're the ones who came up with it. And it was essentially kill races with placement races, and you were put into these random teams with a bunch of people. And so I actually got to know a lot more than because of those tournaments. I only knew like 3 or 4 of them
Seemed a little
well
rigged, to
enough.
be fair.
To what?
Seemed a little rigged. You always got on the good team.
Well, it's because I was the good player.
No,
So
no. You
yeah.
at least got at least one other good team. What are the other team?
One time I got Josh, and we definitely.
Because I got nobody good, like ever.
Well,
It was bad.
you played once with us.
That's
all right?
true. I had a bad experience at one time.
But here's the thing: we only did the tournaments twice.
Oh, okay. So you only had twice.
Yeah. So those tournaments we only.
Because after that second time is the one I played. And I think everyone was kind of on the outs. Like
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I think slide canceling is a double-edged sword because it brings in a skill gap, but the game transition to like kind of just like a fun game to really competitive sweaty game.
Yeah.
If you weren't into Warzone to that degree, that's kind of once people started slide canceling everywhere and it became like a very common tactic.
Yeah.
To me, that's when I started noticing people dropping off because every time they played, someone would be right next to them and they're like, "Oh, sweet, this guy has no idea I'm here," and then kid swallows 17 Adderall and then is like
when they locked in,
and then they kill 3 of them and they're just like, "I didn't even see the guy," and it's like.
It was like camera breaking movements that would like absolutely like destroy your fun. That's why I thought bunny hopping was toxic, incredibly toxic.
And that's what I'm like, I used it, and going back to Warzone 2 and not having it,
made it hard.
It made it harder, and it kind of sucked. And that's where it's like, if slide canceling was never introduced, if that mechanic was never in the game, it was an accident. Like you can make this a YouTube short. Here's my spiel. All right. I don't think the player base would have cared, and I think Warzone 2 would have been received a lot better in many ways.
Oh, I think it would have been a wildly successful game.
I think they still had some mechanics that would have slowed it down, like no one shot headshots.
Well,
I
think a majority of people
canceling is you couldn't get one like. It was super easy to get one shot sniped.
Yeah.
And so slide canceling helped you avoid that. So there's definitely pros, but I saw like a lot more of my casual fans kind of fall off after that.
Yeah.
And then you can add what you're gonna say, but I was gonna say one more thing.
No, I was just gonna say I think that was a big complaint though. Like the movement was clunky in Warzone 2, and so that's why a lot of people just kind of didn't like it. I mean that prohibited movement. Animations were also kind of weird. Like it was just clunky. It was you felt heavy physically, and maybe that's what they were going for. And I think that might have actually been on our wish list is to make it feel a little bit more realistic, like you were doing stuff. But
I think we definitely wanted to slow down. But there's stuff like there's a difference between like slide canceling and then like strafe speed. Like strafe speed was suddenly like
it felt like a clunky game. The movement was weird.
Yeah, and that's when like why did they do this? Because
it wasn't smooth.
Because and like even going back to what I was saying earlier, when I was watching those March 9th videos, like the day before Warzone dropped, they're talking about how in their development meetings, they're like, we don't want people to have to worry about inventory management. We don't have to worry about people to worry about plate and ammo management. You just essentially because there's a vacuum looting, and so you just walk over and you get what you need, and then you can. And it was like so that way you can get into your fight. And they're like, that's what we want. And then Warzone 2, they added all of that into it. I'm like, that was your best part of your game.
Yeah.
Was the fact that I wasn't having to manage a ton of it. Like there was a cap on ammo. There was a cap. I can only carry one airstreak at a time, one gas mask, 2 grenades. If I had the right, I think you could carry 2 grenades no matter what. I don't think that matter.
Yeah.
You started with one.
You had resupply or whatever.
And it always came back after. At first, remember it was like 30 seconds at first. It
was way too stupid broken.
But like that's the stuff where it's like it didn't make sense. But that's not it. And then we did like with the kids on our youth group at the time. We did our own little custom tournaments with a bunch of kids.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
The first one, we had what?
Oh, it was crazy.
20, 30 kids participate.
it was insane. We had a ton of kids.
And we had and was I think what's cool about that is we also did you did a video on like was it the kills of the tournament or like
Yeah,
and you had people submit their kills
yeah.
and Aaron was just like screwing
This
around with the
crossbow,
crossbow
dude, he
and
had
I
some
was
of
just
the
like
best kills.
yeah
Because we
it
had
was
like,
sick.
wasn't that an award too? Like you got a prize if you had like kill of the tournament. I don't know. We had some really cool categories.
You could have it was like highest like overall score,
High point.
most contracts completed,
Yeah,
to incentivize people to actually like do
yeah.
contracts. Um,
We had a team with like 11
high,
contracts or something.
yeah, high kill, and well, the first time we had a team that like abused the contract system.
Uh
They either won or almost won because of it, and we're just like, "All right, maybe we need to tune down that."
huh.
But we did our own little tourneys, and we put these kids in random teams,
Yeah,
and they had to, and we're like, "Hey, tourneys next Thursday. Get with your team to start practice together, play together, just get familiar with each other."
yeah,
Um, and I think that it lost its novelty a little bit. I
yeah.
think we ended up doing 3 or 4.
We did 3.
Um, and so I think by the third one, the interest kind of waned out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, people were
Um,
kind of done with Warzone after that, but
yeah, and that's like it was the only we were not. Um,
yeah, we were still locked in.
yeah. And that's I mean I think that's the nature of video games, right? Like
Yeah, it
your
has a
audience that
cycle. It has a cycle.
your audience who's it all in, they're gonna bounce from other games. People went back to Grand Theft Auto, stuff like that.
Minecraft. They went back to Minecraft too in
They did
Fortnite.
go back to Minecraft, yeah, big time Minecraft. Never played in my life, never will. Um,
It's a good game to kind of chill.
it's electronic Legos.
I mean, what's wrong
And
with
so
Legos? What's wrong with Legos?
I just can get real. I can get real ones. Like I don't.
Yeah,
I
but
guess
like Lego, then there's
they're way
Lego
more
Fortnite.
expensive.
Anyway, keep going.
Big deal that Lego Fortnite.
Lego Fortnite's fun.
I know. I've heard of that, but no, and it's just having those tournaments it was a lot of fun, and I was saying like earlier, like with the friends tournament was. I remember wondering just like how decent I was at the game, and I ended up getting most kills in like both our tournaments or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember that was the time we were introduced to Josh.
Yeah.
And
Dominate. Hashtag shout out.
Yep. Miss you guys.
Yeah. Wish we could bring the band back together.
And he was kind of known as the like, oh, he's really good at games. So I was like, all right, well, this is the guy I'm gonna level up to. And we were like on the same team.
Yeah.
And that was not a breakup. And I think people after that game were like, hey, these guys can't be on the same team. And it wasn't like once again, it's not to be like I was awesome, but it was the first time I was like, oh, I'm actually decent at this game. Like I'm definitely better than the vast majority of players, which is
I mean, most people are casuals.
yeah, and so that's what it is. But I remember that was one of those moments where I was just like, oh, like I was doing really well, and people were patting me on the back saying, "Yeah, you're pretty good." I'm like, compliments.
Yeah. The
My
casual
ego.
player is like your 30 to 40-year-old Gerald that has like 4 kids, and can only play for like an hour a night.
Well, that age range hurt my feelings.
Yeah, but your name's not Gerald, and you don't have any kids.
Yeah, well, Yep, that's true. All right. So, are you ready? Hold on.
Are you ready? Ready.
Bad take station.
Choo choo! All aboard. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Bad opinions. I haven't read any of these.
I'll go through them. I'll tell you when to jump in.
Okay.
I think I got a couple in there that I think you'll have some pretty good opinions on. I'll do the first 2.
Okay.
Because those are very specific.
Oh yeah, this one I agree with.
But first one. All right. This is, and you listen to some of the like TrueGate and Dead and stuff like that. It's better predictable recoil patterns. There is an element of randomness to the recoil patterns that I think is less in this game. It's happened more in Modern Warfare 2. But I think they need to have simpler recoil patterns. At the same time, I think they need to increase actual recoil not visual recoil. And this has always been my thing.
Hmm.
I always thought like everyone's like, oh, the ground meta. I hated the ground meta because
Ah,
it was the first time I played a game where I was like, what I loved about Warzone is you could do anything. It was like a massive sandbox where you could choose however you wanted to play, and it was always going to be a good time.
yeah.
And the growl meta was the first time where it's like, if you do not play with the growl, you will get booty slapped. All
Clap to
right,
be clapped. You know what I'm saying?
you'll be clapped, and I hated that because it killed the creativity of the game. And you know, if you play with me, so you know, like I
Yeah.
don't play the same game all day. Like I switch between classes pretty consistently. Some call that ADD. We'll see what my doctor says. All right.
If you don't go to a doctor
Uh,
though.
because I have ADD for work. And so like if the gun has low recoil, it needs to be um, it needs to have a light um what's kill time,
You
whatever
got
you
it. Come
call it.
on.
Yeah.
Blip
I,
blippity blop.
I had dinner earlier,
My
so
boop.
that's what happened in my brain.
My beat bop
I,
broke.
I, I've ate today. Um, and so that it's like it should have less damage. Like it shouldn't
Low
output as much
recoil, low
damage.
damage. Got it.
High recoil, high damage. And so like
And for the most
I
part, that
thought
was true.
I thought it, no, because the growl was like
Yeah, but the
at one point
Gregorous Odin, the 3-shot down,
yeah, but remember at one point they nerfed it.
that was the dumbest thing I've
That was
ever
yeah.
remembered.
I was so happy because at one point they buffed the Desert Eagle, and it was like viable for like a week, and then they nerfed it back down. I was like, no, like
I missed the deal.
those guns that are like hard to control, but if you have the skill to
Well,
manage it,
they're also classic
like
Modern Warfare guns. Like, and they just made them
yeah,
not usable in Warzone.
yeah. Or like this, like the Scar, for example. The Scar had a pretty simple recoil pattern,
Yeah.
but it had a slow fire
Fire
rate,
rate. Yeah.
and also had a max of 30 rounds. So it was like it's like give it more damage to counteract it. But no, I really I want them to have actual recoil in the game, and I feel like Modern Warfare 3 actually has done a good job of that for the most part. I don't Guns don't feel as beamy as they did in the first one. I think that's one of the better things about this version of Warzone than the last one, even though it can be kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
Is the fact that you can't just sit there on Superstore and see someone jumping off dam and being like, "I got a growl, so let me."
Yeah,
Spend the
because then
next
there was like absolutely what's the word? There wasn't bullet
cowards.
travel. No, there was like it was what's that word?
I know
No,
what you're saying.
there's
Yeah,
like no bullet travel, but there was a word for
yeah,
it. I don't
yeah.
remember.
It's like a beam, but yeah.
There was like a specific. It's like whenever like snipers, whenever you pick a specific sniper, the sniper of the
Yeah.
month, the flavor of the month, scar or
So,
sniper.
the SPR in the integration had no bullet
It was
travel.
immediate. Boom.
Yeah, and so it's like as long as you're on their head, you kill them, and that was definitely a bug. And then there was another gun that was like that at one point.
Yeah.
Both bugs. But yeah, so that's point number one is don't have random recoil patterns. Keep it simple, but actually also have recoil because I think like I understand why people want movement to be the skill based because it is more fun when you outmaneuver someone. Like it's like oh I just got you. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, but like to me, I'm like at the end of the day, it's a shooter game. Like shooting needs to be the skill, and then like this could go to your conversation about aim assist.
Yeah.
Uh, Aim assist being broken is bad for the player base
It's bad
because
for the game.
it doesn't disseminate skill very well. You have a good SAT word there, Ethan.
I don't even know what disseminate means. So yeah,
I don't know. We'll see if I even used it right.
probably didn't even. Does not compute.
Probably not even a word. And so like there's no skill gap because you just lock onto people and it alienates half the player base who isn't controller.
Yeah.
And then with recoil is like some recoil is hard for a lot of people to control. Like I've been playing shooters since 2002, so I can be a little bit better at that than a lot of people. But that's a point of control. The second one, and this is the one kick I choo choo 3 years ago
Choo choo.
I had a completely different opinion about this 2 years ago. And going from the other way, this is an important. What's more important? Is it fun or is it competitive? And this is the area where I think fun has the advantage, and that is the return of all snipers being one shot, but maybe in having a sniper
One shot headshots,
that
by the way.
that one shot headshot. Sorry, yes. That has a little bit more. That has maybe less bullet velocity. Maybe doesn't one shot across the whole map, but has faster ADS, and you can use it more mobily. Um, and
Bring
that
back
is
mobile sniping.
the return of the Car 98. And I don't think they have to actually bring back the Car 98 specifically.
But something like it.
I think it's already in the game. There's a sniper called the longbow, and if you go into multiplayer shipment and you just have a quick scope build of that, you can drop 80 kills with no practice. Um, I don't know if it needs to be to that extreme,
Yeah.
but a very mobile sniper, a very light sniper, doesn't feel heavy. That if they just added on a one shot ability to it, and I'm okay if they. I don't want them to be like a 70-meter range because like that's not that far. Maybe 100-something-meter range, and then it's not a one shot anymore. Um, but they need to bring back a good mobile sniper. Um, just because it was so much fun.
Yeah, it was.
And at the time, I thought it was a broken mechanic, and it felt, once again, aim assist right now, it could actually not work out in our favor. This could be a bad take station take in 3-6 months or
Well,
whenever they
I just
listen to our pod. But yeah, I want you talk about the car. What you tell me your opinions.
I think having a sniper like that is important. Because it like sniping right now doesn't feel fun. Like I don't like sniping. I haven't liked sniping since the first iteration of Warzone.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean by even 1984 was fine, right? Because it still had the same mechanics of like how the game worked, and how the guns felt to an extent. But
Yeah.
ever since then, like sniping has not been fun. I don't like headshotting people and having to just bust their shield. Like, just what are we doing? It's not rewarding to snipe because it feels like I have to work so hard to snipe, and it shouldn't be like that. Like, I understand sniping needs to be a skill and all that, but like you need to bring back fun. I maybe I'm on the minority of this, but aim assist needs to be like soft. I understand you need aim assist in a game whenever you especially have a cross platform. Aim assist has kind of always been a thing, but like it needs to be softer, and it shouldn't like basically do a lot of your work for you to where like it's converting people that play one input to the other, right? It shouldn't be like, okay, if I want to play competitively, then I need to play on controller because that's stupid. That's dumb.
Yeah.
There's people who prefer keyboard and mouse, and there's people who prefer controller because that's what they're used to. And I think it should be fairly like even and equal because it like seeing how, and it looks like aimbot, like, and how I've seen myself die in this Warzone 3 or whatever. Like, it looks like aimbot, especially within a certain distance, because they're locking on like it's like it snaps to me, and I've never seen it to be like that good. And that's like Fortnite had that problem with like L2 spamming, and I abused the crap out of it. But like, there's a reason why it was nerfed. There's a reason why it was taken out of the game. Like, aim assist is still good in Fortnite, but it shouldn't be like where it is right now in Warzone. Should not be that strong. It's ridiculous.
I've heard some of the science behind it, and they're saying that it's actually not. I've heard a lot that aim assist isn't buffed in this game, but with slower player movement, that's the reason why it looks more busted. And so because you couldn't have some of those cracked out mechanics of Warzone 1, it's tracking a lot better. But needless to say, I think the goal should be even experience as humanly possible on both inputs. I don't like. I feel like when like with like rotational aim assist, I can't remember what the people are saying. Like either take away rotational aim assist or like.
Is that the one where you basically just strafe and then like it just stays on your?
Yeah. And so like, I'll say this: sometimes aim assist is also really frustrating because there's been multiple times where I've been shooting at someone hops over like behind them,
And it
and
drags
my
your aim.
and tracks that person. I'm like, no, let me finish this guy, and then let me go with that guy. And so I'm trying to fight aim assist. And so that's like, but that it doesn't happen enough to like be like, oh,
Yeah.
keep it in the game. But like I think like it shouldn't have that wide of a range on players. Like it should be pretty small gap
And
of like when it kicks in.
it's meant to like be an assist, like, but
Yeah,
not be the way that you
not not
like.
not aim crutch, aim assist.
Because right now it's like it's in a place. Aim assist is in a spot where like it's you're abusing it rather than it helping you.
I
Like,
think you're the majority on this one, by the way. You said you might be in the minority. I think most
am
people
I?
agree that.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Well, I mean, good. Hopefully,
Even,
people
even like I said, even controller players
they're not
that
delusional then.
if you're good at the game, aim assist is actually an equalizer, and that takes away skill because
Yeah.
like if I have good aim,
Two
well
people on the
everyone
same level.
has good aim.
Two people on the same level should be equal footing, whether they're on
Yeah,
controller or mouse and keyboard. And because that's what I'm saying, if you wanted to be a competitive player, or even if you're just like you want to play competitive at your level, like
yeah.
I would like to, I shouldn't have it in my mind like, oh man, maybe I should try to switch to controller because it's just better because of like the way
Yeah.
that people are like abusing aim assist. That's a problem.
And there's okay, hold on. Let's go back to bad take station. Remember when I made fun of you about skill based matchmaking? I was pretty denialistic about aim assist in Warzone 1, and everyone be like, it's so you're only good because of it. I'm like, no, it doesn't even
No,
matter.
no, I
Mouse
am
mouse and,
good.
mouse and keyboard's easier. And I'll say this is I don't know if there is a perfect solution for it.
No.
Um, there's probably gonna be an element where close range controller is gonna have an advantage because they can kind of keep you there when especially when it's like a little bit faster
I know deep, but
interactions.
I have aim on everybody. Like it doesn't really
Uh,
matter.
but I'm saying from like even medium range,
But because the game is
it lean mouse and keyboard
but the way the game is built right now, like in terms of map design, like close range is everywhere.
is yeah, it's meta. So
There's no long range engagements
there's
because
no
of
delineation of different types of engagements.
it's a, like because of that, controller is just the strongest option.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to get too far on it because we have some more bad opinions to cover. Choo choo.
I mean, that was what well, you got a second opinion for us?
Way less attachments. But I think that's also like a majority of the thought, right? Or at least for old people, us old heads. Way less attachments. Go back to it being more simple. Let me throw my 5 attachments on the gun, call it a day, right? Just
Yeah.
just I don't need to scroll through. Oh, it pisses me off because I actually am lost right now because I haven't played Call of Duty consistently in like 2 years, and so like when I go to build out a gun, I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed that I'm like I need someone to show me what gun to build out, and I feel like I'm 100 years old because I go to like the suppressor list and it's like 50 suppressors deep, and I don't understand why in this world that we decided, oh, you know what? Let's just I don't know. Let's just overwhelm everyone.
And here's the thing for me with the attachment thing is like if they all actually had a purpose that was actually like, oh, like
Yeah.
this is actually better in that situation.
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
I could almost justify having a bunch of attachments. But the reality is I'm going to the same 2 suppressors, I'm going to the same 2 recoil control, I'm going to the same 2 or 3 scopes, I'm going to the one and only barrel. Like even though there's 2100 attachments or whatever the number is, I'm only using maybe 10 to 15 of them. And the vast majority of the player base is using the same 10 or 15 attachments. And so old head Ethan would have been like, I think they just need to be balanced in a different way. I think I was excited about having different attachments, but most of them aren't usable. And that's the issue is you put a bunch of crap in the game and it's not usable.
It's bloated.
And so I think you should have, I'm okay with having 2 suppressors. One that doesn't hurt your movement speed nearly as much, but also doesn't help your bullet velocity and damage range. one that helps on those, but it slows down your movement speed
Which would that one would be the one that people
significantly.
use?
But even like an SMG, for example, you're not going to take the heavier uh suppressor. You're going to take the lighter suppressor.
Yeah, it's fair.
And so one recoil that's focused more on horizontal recoil control, one that's focused more on vertical recoil control. So if you have a gun that's horizontal recoil, you could put that on to lessen it. It's whatever. But my big thing, and here's my
Here's the
this
closing thoughts, right?
give me a couple short range scopes, give me a couple medium range scopes, and give me a couple long range scopes. And why did they take out
The
the
Odin.
recoil?
Oh.
No, not the recoil, the reticle editor.
Oh,
Like
yeah, that was
that
good.
was such a cool. I love that because like on the sniper, for example, I love the reticle that had the little circle and the cross inside the circle. Because it helped me I felt like I don't know I felt like could be more consistent getting on their head. All right. And and they took away the recoil or not sorry reticle editor. I'm like, just having the reticle editor and you have like maybe 10 to 15 reticles you can choose from. That's giving you the impression of like you feel like you have a lot more different scopes than you actually have.
Yeah.
And so it's like why did we
I like the
why do we
ones
take
just the simple dot.
feature?
That's all I want. I just want the simple dot
Yeah.
on like
But
every.
some people love the cross, like the having a cross,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Most people don't like the smaller dot, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
most all blue dot.
Yeah.
Because it was enough that it didn't break your
Real
vision.
clean, real minimal. That's why I like the Grau.
Yeah.
Just iron sight. All the Grau iron sights were the most beautiful iron sights of any gun in this game.
Also, people don't use iron sight ARs anymore, and
that's weird.
Once again, I hated the Grau because it kind of killed the creativity and the sandbox elements of the game. But their iron sights were
it was so clean.
Well, if you had the right M4
Oh yeah.
blueprint, also they had one really good one
Yeah.
too as well. All right, here we go. Ready for this one?
Yeah.
150 players, big map. That's it.
Done.
Here, ready? Now here's another YouTube short for you, Cal, so you can help advertise this video. All right. 150 players. All right, so and here's all right. Ready? I'm gonna get the sweats really angry. Once again, the sweats aren't watching this video, but if one of you sweaties are watching this video, I actually welcome you. Salutations. I hated with everything in my being the stem speed boost of Caldera.
That was kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
I hated it so much.
It was stupid, but it was fun at the same time.
Was it because I got destroyed because my skill wasn't as good? Yes. But once again, there's a balance between having fun and being competitive. And for some people that was fun. But it also gave them a massive competitive edge that wasn't as fun for me. I feel like I definitely do move around pretty quickly around the map, especially compared to once again to 80% of the player base. But when I'm fighting, I'm a much slower fighter. I do not have those
twitchy tendencies.
I don't have that 17-year-old tendency where I can just like jump around and I'm like, I gotta stay still a little bit. Maybe strafe a little bit.
Don't get too crazy now.
Yeah, give me my walker.
Gotta get my cane out. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, kids. But no, I actually think the more and more I play it, I think Warzone 3's movement. There's a couple clunky elements. Like sometimes, like when I'm trying to slide cancel or slide, it just doesn't do it. So there's been multiple times where I like try to slide and my guy just like kneels, and then I'm just like stuck, and I'm like, oh, I just got killed. So if they can figure out ways to like maybe make those transitions between inputs a little bit smoother. But I think that Warzone 3's movement is probably it's in my favorite overall spot compared to any other iteration.
Okay. I haven't played enough to really give an opinion, so
No, you can trust me.
okay.
I don't have bad takes.
Trust. Yeah, choo.
No bad takes. Stay from
I don't know about random weather events. I think that's actually might be a bad opinion.
me. You want me to go into that? Let's go.
I do want to see night mode though. Night mode was fun.
I think more so that, but I think it'd be kind of fun if like one time you jump in, it's raining,
And then Sharknado is there.
Or maybe not Battlefield. Battlefield went too far.
Sharknado? They had Sharknado?
Well, without the sharks, just nados.
Yeah, tornadoes are stupid.
And that North Atlantic Treaty Organization. That sorry, Putin, if you're watching, sorry for mentioning that.
Putin's a sweat. He's not watching this video.
Yeah, no, Putin, dude. You know Putin grinds Warzone.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why his army's losing because he's not actually paying attention.
Yeah, he's just worried about his KD.
So yeah, he's got 3.5. So I don't blame him.
Above average.
But like I don't know, even it'd be cool like even during winter if it was like the map became like snowy or something.
Oh, I do want to see a frozen map. That would be fun.
I don't know. Like I think it'd be better in an extraction mode where it's a little bit extraction mode styles tend to be a little bit more slower paced. They tend to have a little bit more dependent on like good graphic quality stuff.
I don't think you need that though. I think you still could do it seasonally.
I like the variety of being like, oh, it's raining right now, so we can change a little bit how we play.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
I don't think you need to go as far as being like, it's muddy, so you can't move as fast and cars can't drive. But it'd be interesting to see like how audio fixes it. Something I completely forgot to add in here. The ambient audio is out of whack and it needs to go back. Like there is so much background noise in the past couple of years of Warzone that it is so distracting and it's hard to hear things happening. Where if you go back and watch verdansk gameplay and you're watching people play, there's like no background noise. Like
because we started to do too much.
There's airplanes that are across the map, and it sounds like they're right above you.
In my living room.
And then like guys are like I talked about this with you the other day. Guys are parachuting on top of me as I'm in the middle of gunfights, and there is no audio cue for it. Like, there's just so much noise going on that it's too much. So yeah, but random events, that's mine. Weather events, sorry, not random events. I think it'd be cool if you had like rainy, snowy, windy, Sharknadoes.
No, not Sharknado.
I think day-night cycle would be kind of cool, but I think if you did that, you would put it into an individual game mode, and that force everyone to play it, kind of like that stupid snow monster on Caldera, Krampus.
God, I was so mad.
They made us play with Krampus.
Yeah, and it ruined a couple games we had.
It ruined every single game we played.
And then they finally realized maybe we shouldn't have done that.
They didn't realize that because then they came out with Godzilla mode or whatever it was, Kong mode.
Here's what I also miss the old perk system.
Yes.
Also the old interface. Why are we a mobile game? That's what I want to know.
I think a mobile game would be better. Like the interface is awful.
That's what I'm saying. We're building it like it's a mobile game, and like it's not a mobile game. Right now, it's not a mobile game. They're gonna have two different interfaces.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think if they had a mobile game interface, it would be better because mobile game interface is based on what you see is what you click. This one's like you open up the buy station. It's like here are your 7 tabs. What would you like for dinner?
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about like even in the lobby. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I hate. Ever since Warzone 2.0 came out, like the interface of how the HUD, not the HUD, but the interface and how you interact with menus and screens and stuff. I still have a hard time inviting people to my party. It's atrocious. I miss that, and I miss the old perk system. I don't like perk packages. I think that's stupid. Get that out of here. They did away with like real. They did. Oh, choo choo. They did away with like the old perk system, and then they like overcomplicated the gunsmith. Like they like reversed these two things. It's annoying.
Well, and here's my thing with the perk system is choo choo. All right, when you die, you shouldn't drop perks. And
Oh,
the reason I say
absolutely.
that is I think what was kind of awesome about the last Warzone is if you died, you can still go get your guns, especially if your team won, if they bought you back. But now you don't have your perks. So now you have to prioritize what are we going to do as a team? Are we going to buy a loadout so he can get his ghost perk?
Yeah.
Or are we going to buy UAVs? Because at the end, and this is it made in games flow better because everyone wasn't running ghosted because half the lobby had died and come back and they hadn't got their loadout package. And so you didn't pop a UAV in the last 2, 3 circles and no one popped up. There was always a squad that was going to be up or a couple of squads were going to be up. It made late game interactions YouTube short. It made late game interactions
This is
so
an
much more
hour and 20
engaging.
minutes long. There's no way
I
I'm
know.
gonna be able to find these couple times that you say this is a YouTube short.
It's this is an hour 20 minutes. There you go. You just told yourself. Um, we can talk about that later. I don't care about that. Well, here's the thing. I think they should perk packages shouldn't be dropped. And also I don't think
Choo choo.
overkill. I don't think everyone should start off with default overkill. I think I enjoyed having overkill in that perk,
All
and
right.
then now there's a priority on getting 2 loadouts. You want to get your guns, and then you want to get ghost.
Yeah.
But then once again, you drop late. Okay, you drop out. Maybe at this point your guns are lost in the storm.
Lost in the
Now you
sauce.
have to make a late game decision. Am I going to get overkill and potentially be on UAVs every time someone pops at the end game, or am I going to choose a ghost loadout and have a pistol as my secondary?
I
And
always
tell
got
someone that
my
decision making. I think is a really important element of battle royales that we lost.
well the what I always ended up doing was I just ran all ghost loadouts anyway, and I just because I knew we were gonna get 2 loadouts or it was gonna be a free one, and then we bought one. So I never really had that issue. The only issue I ever really ran into was like late game. Say if I did have a problem, right? I only had one gun, or I just had to pick up somebody's that I killed, or
I
grabbed one of y'all. So
at first I was always ghost, and then I transitioned to overkill, just because, especially like because remember we get a loadout within a couple minutes of dropping,
yeah, the only
and
time I think the
so
only
you would go 5 to 10 minutes between your first and second loadout. And that's also when you have the most people on the map. And so I was like, I would prioritize getting kills right now. And then when that auto loadout dropped, 4 minutes into that circle moving or whatever it was, then I go get my ghost.
the only yeah the only overkill loadout I ended up running I think was my sniper one because I didn't want a pistol for my secondary, so I just usually ran like sniper SMG or something.
Yeah. Well, and and I think a part of it is also like they haven't done a great job with kind of like attachments. They have a bunch of perks in there, and you only use 5.
Again,
So like
ooh,
having good perks, having them in maybe the correct
but
like
packages though, like why do they do
like
packages?
because I blame the sweats. They're like I don't know. I don't like perk packages. I think it takes out. I feel like the more and more the Warzone has gone, is it's taken out strategic elements of the game that made it fun to play, and it's more of a brain dead experience now, which is why I don't know. I could blame map design, but
Choo choo.
I think I just don't think big map is as fun because you don't have to make like decisions anymore. It's just kind of like, oh,
Right.
I get 2 guns immediately. Oh, I found my perk package, so now I have ghost all the time. So,
Yeah.
all right,
But
last point. You ready for this one?
yeah, wrap it up right here. This is a wrap
All
up.
right. It says balance between kill races and strong team play. I'm going to alter this a little bit,
Yeah, because I don't know what that
and
means.
what this really means is, um, there needs to be a balance between the game being competitive and the game being fun. I
Right.
think the game still has some fun elements to it, but I think they lean towards the competitive side a little bit too much. At the same time, and it's a little contradictory. At the same time, it's also become a little bit too arcadey. And I think Warzone One, because when battle royales first came out, the battle royales genre was a more realistic, you know,
Except for
Earth to
Fortnite.
yeah, but like I guess strategically,
Yeah.
it was a it was a realistic tactical. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Tactical shooter where multiplayer was an arcade shooter. I think they've taken too much of the they bloated it so much, and so people complain about one shot headshots because they weren't fair, so they took them out. People complain about vehicles being too overpowered, so they weakened them. People complain about vehicles being one shot by an RPG, so now it takes you can't team wipe a team in a car, and I think they lost elements of fun in that process.
Yeah.
All right, um, so it's like how do you?
I think
But then they
they
have like stupid arcade systems, like, and they haven't done this as much in the more recent Warzone, which I appreciate. But like the stim boost system and like stuff like that, where it's like you can't one shot headshot people, but then you can run 75 miles an hour.
well, the thing I didn't
Like
like is I don't know. I think I come back to this all the time every time we talk about this, but I think part of it is I honestly believe part of it like is the resurgence mode, rebirth, resurgence. Yeah, it might be a bad take. Who knows? Um, but I honestly feel like the introduction of that kind of it ruined Big Map for everybody because then everyone's like, oh, cool, I just play this because it's easier and I can constantly play more. I don't have to wait to be bought back. I don't have to wait to be you know
divide the player base.
to yeah, it divided the player base to a point to where people who are just loved the element of always having that dopamine hit. They couldn't stand just sitting and waiting for their squad to buy them back, or just like if they couldn't buy back, just wait for their team to play out the rest of the game. And I don't blame that thought process, but I think it led to a watered down Warzone experience.
I can agree with you to a certain extent. I will also say this: re, rebirth resurgence modes saved us from the last three maps, big maps.
It
And
probably
so,
also extended the lifespan of the game a little bit longer, just because
yeah,
of like Warzone 2 kind of sucked.
yeah, that's true. So
Um, and like the
everything
end
has
of
pros and cons.
1980, yeah, and the end of 1984 wasn't very good, so people just started playing Rebirth a lot,
Yeah,
ourselves included.
yeah.
But I don't know.
No, I agree. I definitely I lean towards if a big map experience has to have more perfect conditions than Resurgence does. And because of that, Resurgence is easier to play because it doesn't need to be as perfected as Big Map does. And so
Because you're
that's why
gonna come back.
I think that's why Big Map has struggled a little bit more, is because they haven't made good Big Map since Verdansk. Um,
And they took out
while
ranked.
and yeah, they took out ranked, but while also saying that is I just I really think that I don't know. I had a really good point that I was going to bring up and maybe piss people off, but I forgot.
Dang.
Um, mid sentence too. Yeah, it's just make a good big map experience,
Yep.
and I think people will play. Oh, I was gonna say is when we played big map a couple weeks ago, and we played like some kind of like
It was like a game time, limited time
it was
mode or
like
something.
limited time mode where it was like this is the mode where we're testing out features of our game. And whenever we played that night, it felt like there was no skill-based matchmaking. And part of that probably was that most skill players were picking that, and so I had to pull from a little bit more of a diverse audience
Yeah.
because not everyone had that on their screen.
Yeah.
It was like kind of randomly selected, and so but it felt like skill-based matchmaking was like almost completely off,
Yeah.
and that was so much fun.
Yeah.
And so I think they got to bring that back. But yeah, I think any last thoughts from you? I
No, I
got 3
think
minutes, so
I know. I think that's pretty much it. If for the one person who's probably still watching at this point,
thank you.
thank
You
you.
won $100 from Kyle.
And you'll have to come and find
Monopoly
me in
dollars.
person
Yes.
to get
But
it.
if you put a comment in the comments, I will put his address in the comments for you. So,
But yeah, if you let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
If you're actually watching. If you not, then you have no way of letting us know what you think, and also maybe what we should talk about next.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
anyway,
what's your thoughts? What do you want us to talk about next? Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe.
if you like the video, actually like the video.
The video.
Does he still do that? I don't even know.
Yeah, he does.
Okay. But anyway,
He's like muscular, so I do it. I just jiggle.
Yeah. But anyway, Ethan has to go play in a tournament, and so or something like that, and we'll see you next time.
Sayonara.